Hello friends, welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by The Guild. I am Tom Downey. We'll start things off with some Cowboys rumors, and naturally, we go to the Randy Gregory drama. Is he in trouble? I'm only going to give this one star, and frankly, kind of borders closer to fake news and maybe even the full 1 star. We'll go ahead and round up here. So, as I'm sure many of you saw, Jason La Canfora late Sunday night tweeted out, hearing there could be trouble coming for Randy Gregory, and since then, Jason La Canfora has not elaborated on his claim and has not provided any other evidence or sources or anything else beyond throwing that out into the Twitter ether. And then on top of that, a Dallas radio station asked him to come on and discuss the tweet, and Gregory said, or not Gregory, excuse me, La Canfora said he was in meetings all week and didn't have time, which just sounds strange to me. Now, there was a report from Jean-Jacques Taylor that Gregory's accountability partner, which the NFL mandates, didn't know where Gregory was at times last week. But here's the main thing. No other reporter has indicated, the Cowboys have not, and Gregory's camp has not either, that anything troubling is coming down the pipeline for Randy Gregory. Could that happen? Sure, I suppose it's a possibility, but it doesn't seem very likely. By the way, Jason Garrett, as you saw at the top of the show, said that he expects to have Gregory on the field in week 1. I'm not all that worried. It'll always be in the back of my mind like, ooh, could something bad happen to Gregory given his history? But the Cowboys don't know of anything. Gregory's camp reportedly doesn't know of anything. I just think Jason La Canfora didn't do good journalism here. I don't think there's much to this. I'll give it the 1 star, but I think when we look back on this in a month or whatever, it's going to end up being fake news instead. All right, number 2 is Kavon Frazier healthy. Here's some actual good news here for the Cowboys. Frazier went down with a shoulder injury against the Cardinals, but he is healthy. 4 stars on this one. He said he just dislocated his shoulder. He's going to be okay. They popped it back in. The x-ray was clean, and Frazier is not going to miss any time for the Cowboys, or I should say, any time that actually matters. I doubt he plays in week 4 of the preseason because, well, why would he? There's no point for it. It's a meaningless game. The Cowboys just signed 2 random offensive linemen off the street who are going to play instead for some other guys. So it's good news that Frazier is healthy because the Cowboys cannot afford to be without him. They're already likely going to be without Xavier Woods for week 1, maybe even beyond that. That leaves Kavon Frazier, Jeff Heath, and a bunch of guys that were undrafted free agents or signed after coaching high school football or this offseason like Jarwin Johnson. So good news for Frazier. He's healthy, but, and I think you guys will agree with this, the Cowboys do need to add another safety. I am typing in 1 in the comments section. The Cowboys cannot go into week 1 with a healthy Kavon Frazier, a healthy Jeff Heath, an injured Xavier Woods, and the likes of Tyree Robinson or Cam Kelly or Jarwin Johnson. You got to get somebody else on this roster to help you out in a heartbeat. If you like the shirt I'm wearing, you can get one of your own at Mizzen and Main. Head to comfortable.af, and trust me, folks, it is the most comfortable shirt you will ever own. All right, next up on our rumors roundup, will Leighton Vander Esch be back for the regular season? I don't know. I'm going to give this one the 2 stars. Now, Jason Garrett also mentioned today in his press conference that Vander Esch will not play in week 4, and they hope to get him back practicing soon. I would lean toward he'll be healthy enough for week 1 of the regular season, but I think this is an actual question that has to be asked right now. Assuming Vander Esch is cleared medically to play in week 1 of the regular season, would he be a healthy inactive? Damian Wilson is the starter right now at Sam linebacker. Joe Thomas has looked really good as your number 4/number 5 linebacker, I guess. And then Justin March-Lord has made some nice plays as well and offers a lot of special teams value. I don't know if this will actually happen, but I could see a scenario where Vander Esch only gets back to practice, late this week, early next week, and the Cowboys say, you know what, LVE, take a week off, we'll make you a healthy scratch, and then we'll get you ramped up fully for week 2, week 3, week 4, and beyond. So I'll keep it more in 2 stars, but hopefully he comes back soon from that groin injury because I don't like it when my linebackers have lower body injuries. Isn't that right, Sean Lee? All right, next up, Earl Thomas, because you guys ask me almost every single show, what's the update on Earl Thomas? Well, Jean-Jacques Taylor says that the deadline for Earl Thomas could be the regular season. I'm only going to give it 2 stars, though. If you don't see an Earl Thomas trade by the start of the regular season, I don't think it ends all chances of a deal. I think it makes it a bit more unlikely, but I don't think that the start of the regular season is the actual drop-dead deadline for Earl Thomas and the Cowboys. Now, the NFL trade deadline is on October 30th of this season. That, in reality, is your drop-dead deadline because you can't physically make a trade after that. And I'll remind everyone again here, yeah, there isn't really much update on the Earl Thomas front as it relates to trade talks, because an Earl Thomas trade does not depend on Dallas picking on the phone, calling Seahawks GM John Steiner and saying, hey, let's make a trade. It is up to Seattle to say, you know what, we're done with this Earl Thomas stuff. Let's just trade him. Let's move on. Let's get a future draft pick and not worry about extending him or having him sit out games in the regular season. And deadlines do make deals, and the reality is that the regular season is a deadline, although it might not be the end-all, be-all deadline. But my question is it a deadline for the Cowboys and the Seahawks, or a deadline for Earl Thomas and the Seahawks? I would lean towards the latter there. So I would like to trade for Earl Thomas. I think you add Earl Thomas, you get 2 more wins to your team. That is the difference in my eyes between, finishing with 9 wins and finishing just outside the playoff race, or getting in there with 11 and maybe even winning the NFC. So I am typing in yes on that one. I think it's a no-brainer for me. We'll have some updates here for you guys on Travis Frederick. Is he working out? When could he return? But first, a quick word from our sponsor, The Guild. Four stars on this one. Some good news from Travis Frederick. Kind of dropped it, I almost thought accidentally, by Jason Garrett in his press conference today when Garrett said, nothing new on Frederick. He's working out again, which those two kind of seem contradictory. I think it's a very good sign that Frederick is now working out again for the Dallas Cowboys. I think it's a big deal because having Frederick able to work out indicates to me that his recovery is progressing and making good growth. Now, I don't know when we'll get Frederick back. I'll make note that Ian Rappaport said that Frederick's recovery could be measured in weeks rather than months, which again is a very good sign for Travis Frederick. I think there are 2 likely outcomes right now. Number one is that the Cowboys put Travis Frederick on IR after 53-man roster cutdowns and bring him back after that IR to return time frame has passed. Or I wouldn't be surprised based on this if the Cowboys say, you know what, let's just keep Travis Frederick on the active roster and make him inactive each week and see if he can come back before that 6-week, 8-week time frame. So I think you'll see Frederick this year, but again, we'll have to wait and see. I will say this, though. Him working out is, of course, a good sign for his long-term non-football health. That's the most important thing. But him working out is a big deal for the Cowboys. I kind of see now why the Cowboys and Frederick have some optimism about his next return. All right, next up, would Jerry Jones not trade his Hall of Fame membership for another Super Bowl? I'll give this one 3 stars. So there is a book coming out titled Big Game about the NFL owners in the NFL. And Jerry Jones is interviewed and quoted after he'd been drinking a little bit that says he wouldn't trade his Hall of Fame membership for another Super Bowl title. Now, the book says that Jerry Jones kind of waffled a bit and then said that he preferred the Hall of Fame. And then, by the way, following up on this, the Cowboys PR guy said, hey, can we get a mulligan on that question? Because they knew it probably wasn't going to be a good one. So if you would ask Jerry Jones this right now in a press conference, I think he would say the Super Bowl. That's why it's only 3 stars, not the 4. But I kind of think that Jerry let his true colors show there, even though, to be fair, he had been drinking a little bit. So, folks, let me know, when will Dallas win its next Super Bowl? Obviously, this year is the ideal year, but let me know when you think it will happen. Hopefully, it won't be another 2+ decades, because I don't think any of us want to go through that. All right, number 7, could Robert Griffin III be a fit with the Dallas Cowboys as a potential backup quarterback? I'll give this one 2 stars, and Patrick Walker of 24/7 Sports, speaking to my heart here, as I've said multiple times on previous Cowboys Report shows, I'd love to see RG3 with the Cowboys. I think he'd be a good fit, and if Griffin got cut, I'd like to see that move go down. Now, you're not going to trade for him, but Griffin is on the roster bubble in Baltimore because, of course, there's Joe Flacco, and there's future number 1 quarterback in Baltimore, Lamar Jackson. He's looked pretty good in the preseason. Not perfect, obviously, but I kind of would prefer Robert Griffin III to Cooper Rush. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section, but I like RG3. I don't know if Dallas would actually do it. I would for sure, but that's why it's only 2 stars, kind of more in that rumor category more than anything. Speaking of backup quarterbacks, will the Cowboys not add a veteran QB? I know you guys might not like this, but I'm going to give it 3 stars. It just doesn't seem all that likely. Jerry Jones and Jason Garrett really kind of confirmed their belief in Cooper Rush. Jones says the Cowboys will likely go with their young quarterbacks. Jason Garrett says he is still confident in Cooper Rush's ability there. And Dallas does still like Rush, even after an awful Week 3 effort, which I think put to end the Rush over Dak truthers out there. So, I don't expect to trade for a quarterback. I wouldn't want to do that anyway, but I think you could look at the waiver wire. Maybe if someone gets hurt. Matt Moore's out there. I'd love to go sign Matt Moore. I am down with a veteran quarterback, as I've been for some time. I don't like the idea of trading for one. And in the end, they have rushed. They drafted Mike White. I'd be a bit surprised if Dallas did go out and add a new quarterback, even though I think I'd like one. I'm a big believer in Matt Moore, even at his advanced age. I think he'd be a good backup. You can try and get Mike White on the practice squad. Wouldn't that kind of be worth the answer? I'm typing in 3 for yes, but I don't think you'll see Dallas actually make that move. All right, folks, we're trying to get our Dallas Cowboys Report channel to 5,000 subscribers. I've already passed the 2K mark. Thank you all very much for doing that. Head to chatsports.com/CowboysTV to subscribe today. All of our Cowboys coverage, plus highlights for you at that spot. It'll take you right in to the subscriber page. All right, number 9. Is Blake Jarwin going to be a field stretcher at tight end for the Cowboys? Look, I'll give it 2 stars. Based on what I've seen at times in the preseason, kind of think you might see Jarwin fill that role. Don't know how effective he's going to be, though. Stephen Jones says Jarwin can stretch the field if teams cheat up to stop Zeke, and it is kind of weird to me overall that the Cowboys are so high on Blake Jarwin because he hasn't really done a whole lot to prove it in my eyes. Jeff Swaim is your number 1 guy as a better blocker. Jarwin still, I don't think is that great of a blocker. Has shown some ability in the passing game, but I don't think has the upside of a Rico Gathers. And Dalton Schultz is the Cowboys' current project at tight end, the one that they've invested more in. So I don't really believe in Blake Jarwin. Maybe he can prove me wrong. But let me know who you think is the best tight end on the Cowboys roster. I will also accept the answer of none of them because I don't know if any of them are actually all that good. I mean, I guess Swaim can be a decent enough blocker for you, though.